Hey guys, it's Eric here with Sacred Forge Healing. Finally here for the weekly reading. I'm back. I'm going to be posting every week. Again, I'm kind of working my way back into the energy of posting this regularly and stepping into this path a little bit more. And that is my journey here on the 7-7 portal. So happy 7-7 portal, everyone. I do have a 7-7 portal video up on my channel. It started more first reading this as a weekly reading, but it felt like it wanted to be more focused, centered on today and the echoes of the energy that is today moving forward. So we're going to get more into the energy of this week. And just see how that shifts and changes. I will give you the Cliff Notes version of that reading. We're really focusing more onto the heart space, and as a lot of you know, that's where we're headed as a society eventually, right? The current outer state, our current physical representation of what society is not there yet. We're working there, but we will get there. So let's go ahead and let's get into the energy of this today. As we're working more into stepping into our own path of alignment, I am also here stepping into the path of service for all of you here. And so I'm going to start with some messages that we have coming through Spirit. I've invited many angels in here today to really get their perspective and what they want you to know here today. So they want me to remind you that when it comes to angelic guidance, as this is the angelic guidance, that they are not going to give you specifics on what you have to do every day, right? They're saying, hey, this is the energy, this is our advice, what you do with it is yours. And so they're never going to tell you exactly what to do. And so, yes, that can be a little frustrating at times. So the big energy that they're kind of bringing across for me right now is actually, there's very layered messages here, actually. For this week, the energy is a little bit black and white, but we're also trying to surge towards freedom. And so that can also be surging to freedom from that black and white state of, is it this way or the highway, right? And that can be difficult, especially if you've been stuck in that way for so long. But that's actually where we're headed this week, where everything is not just black and white. It can be inverted in different colors, or it can be gray, right? Where is the line between those things? And so this is going to be a big week of how is my perspective shifting in that way, but how can I see life in a more colorful way? And how can I be open to different perspectives than just my own? Because what we're all trying to get to, and I'm reading the energy here of all of you who are watching, there's just this want for freedom. Honestly, the energy and the vision that they're giving me is one of a zebra, like running through the fields, no worries, no cares about what's going on. They're just having a good time about it. And we have to really work and see where our polarizations or our ideas about certain people come from, and say, okay, am I open to different perspectives? Do I have to fully align with them? Remember that you don't. But that doesn't mean we have to fight and be aggressive towards each other. We can talk in a civil way and allow ourselves to share a little bit more about how we feel or experience life. And remember that everyone is different, right? We're all wanting the same thing. We're all wanting freedom of some kind. We're all wanting more love. And yes, in some ways, the way that society is showing, that doesn't necessarily look like it's the case. But as a grand perspective, we want peace, we want joy, we want happiness, we want love. War is not one of those things. There's no point in it. It's just meaningless death. And so today and this week, the big energy is, how can I treat others in a way that I do want to be treated? Yes, that is very biblical in that way, but treat others how you want to be treated. right? If you're going to go in and start judging them for one thing they've done, do you want them to sit there and judge you for one thing you've done? Right? And, knowing that, for some of you, it's like, I can give as good as I get, but, can you share more compassion with others as you're moving forward with this? Can you be more open to their perspective without prosecuting them? And so we're really trying to move towards an energy of away from judgment, more towards that freedom of how everyone can express their own being in their own way without worrying. And so we have 2 pop outs, which is good. So we have, let's see here. Oh, good Lord. Yes. Okay. All right. So we have 3 pop outs, actually. Very interesting. So we have unity here. So Archangel Sandalphon, the angel who brings your prayers to heaven. Think about that. Sound healing as well is also a big thing with them. So traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations seek mentors and like-minded friends. Right. The big thing to remember here is that some of you will not like to hear this, but we are all one consciousness. We're all one part of a whole. And we are all whole within ourselves, which can get kind of confusing. But we are all part of this grander reality that is happening. And so we have to remember that we're all connected, no matter what and who we are, right? This can get into a really long talk, so I'm going to try to keep it short. Although I feel like they don't want me to, so we'll see how this goes. When somebody is showing up in your life and giving you a really hard time about this one perspective, saying, this person is another aspect or reflection of myself experiencing something different than what I'm currently experiencing. What does that mean to me? What am I supposed to learn by listening, or maybe not? Am I meant to hold my boundaries? Remember, as a soul, we're all here to learn, and it's not black and white, right? As a soul form, something is not necessarily good nor bad. It is an experience. As we are here living this human life, an experience is as an experience from the soul level, but that does not translate as well when it gets to the human level. We see things as good or bad, depending on who we are. And that's actually what we're starting to shift from, or wanting to shift from. Or I should say, what our soul is wanting us to shift from. For some of us, it's really, really hard moving out of our old paradigm. And that's fair. And that's where you have like the traditional viewpoints that's coming out from this card. But we're trying to move into something that's not traditional. It's something new. And so the big thing, are you willing to allow it to be new? Are you willing to allow yourself to try new things or to experience something that you've never done before? And yes, there is the aspect of finding your teachers and finding your mentors. But remember, when it comes down to that, make sure you're not giving your power away to them. They don't want it. Some of them might. And the people who want your power, you need to run away from them. Yeah. Run away, get away from them. So spiritual organizations, find your group of people who you resonate with. They might be very eclectic, very diverse, and be able to share a lot of different perspectives, but yes, they're all one whole, and they're open to hearing from each other. That doesn't mean they necessarily all agree, and that's fine. But we're trying to be open to new things, new perspectives, and just kind of get away from the black and white mentality. There's all shades of gray in between, right? So if you're dealing with someone in specific who's really challenging you in that way, say, okay, this shade of gray does not match my own perspective, and that's okay, that's theirs. Now, we're not talking about violence, racism, discrimination, all those are shades of gray, and it's in a very unfortunate shade of gray. And that's just where they're at. And I really hope that changes. And for those of you who are speaking out, thank you for speaking out. But We're all moving in our own direction. So be open to those who are along your path, I will say. So our last two cards. So our last two cards here, we have the Ace of Fire. So an exciting new opportunity, career advancement, and change your life now, which is really what we're trying to do when we're getting outside of that black-white mentality, right? It doesn't have to be one way or the other. It can be, in this infinite universe, there's an infinite amount of ways to do something. And so that's one of the big things that we have to be aware of, right? Even in this card here, let me show it to you one more time. Like, this card can be read in a few different ways, right? When it comes to fire, which might be hard to see, so fire here, it's about that life, that driving passion that exists here. And in some ways, this feels like wanting to turn your nose up at something for some reason. Like, typically, the ace is that new beginning energy, that new passion, that new drive. But, I'm going to say it the way that it's wanting to come through me, but turn your nose down. It doesn't need to be up. Look ahead of you instead of looking up at the stars. In some ways, it's like, get your head out of your butt and look, what actually exists around you. And that's part of that, being open to other people's perspectives. And when that does happen, it is allowing us to see a lot of new things, new experiences, new ways of being that we might not have been aware of. And for some of you guys, it's never fun hearing that statement, but that's actually what it feels like we're working towards, right? That away from black, white, into something new and different. And this is a very fast moving week is what it feels like. And with this being 7/7 already, there's plenty of information that I talked about that energy in specific, that you can go listen to that 7/7 portal reading. But this is a very fast moving energy, and there's a lot of protection here. But we have our Knight of Fire as our last card here. It says passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Things happen. Think things through carefully. But this is that energy of movement, that very, very fast thing. And this is a time to say, okay, I want to be open to new perspectives. Thank you, universe, for showing me new perspectives that I've not seen before. Thank you for showing me things in a new way so I may learn and to experience new beginnings, new changes in my life. And this is also a time for us to be focusing in on that passion part, right? What is firing us from within? So, protective energy, very much so, right here. But, there's also a feeling of, what am I speaking into existence? And so that, as we're moving forward in consciousness and growth here, what we say will happen very quickly. So mind your words. And that's kind of our last message. Mind your words with what you're really either throwing on others, what you're throwing on yourself, or what you're throwing into society, because all of those are energies pushing towards that direction. So if you have to say something nice. Say something that allows a change in the situation. Don't see people stuck in a box. Allow yourself to see them in a way that surprises you. Be open to change in others and in yourself, and therefore allow the change to show up in your world. So I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you again later. Bye for now.